Dave Chappelle has won the trans war. So you may remember Dave Chappelle got in a big hub with the trans lobby because he told a joke with one of his specials in which he said that everyone in this room has come through the legs of a woman.
How dare he?
That's the bad part. And then the joke part being that he went on to say that I'm not saying it's not the P word, but it's like I can't believe it's not P word or so on and so forth. That it's like I think
on Sticks and Stones, his last special, yeah.
Yeah, I think Carl referred to it. I still can't believe they actually call it this, but apparently the trans lobby do actually call them neo-vaginas. As in like new vaginas, but
right. Vagina 2.0.
I thought they were mocking themselves, but whatever. So Dave Chappelle did that, and in response, the media is very mad, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
So we have Pink News here. Very, very mad. So you can see the headline, trans comedians explain why Dave Chappelle's Netflix special is so infuriating and degrading. Don't care. Like, literally all he said was that everyone comes through the legs of a woman. So did they. And they know it. And that's always going to be the case.
Or the stomach, I guess, if you cut it open, right?
Yeah, that's also a fair point, let's say.
But it's not going to come out of the stomach of a man.
No. Right, that's not where babies come from. I don't know why. Well,
I thought it was
this.
It was a stork with the handkerchief.
Presumably that's what the trans lobby believe.
Right.
Okay, so if we go on, there's some interesting stuff out of this. There was a salty employee who got very mad about this. So you can see this person named Jacqueline. So I told the story of my transition for Netflix and at most Pride Week. It's a network it's a network that's been my home on Dear White People. I've loved working there. Oh, fantastic. The kind of person who spends their entire life just being a SJW and writing for
Yeah. What do you do for a living? Angry.
Yes. I write a show called Dear White People. Yeah,
nice.
I'm sure you're sane. I will not work with them as long as they continue to put out and profit from blatantly and dangerously transphobic content.
Dangerously?
Dangerous. Dave Chappelle and his jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Dave Chappelle. At not one point did he say you should treat a trans person with disrespect at all. He talked about at the end. I don't know if you've seen the special.
I saw that in there. He even mentioned I'm not anti-trans.
Yeah, I saw at the end he had a very powerful. I don't know if I could give a spoiler, but at the end he talked about basically a trans person that opened for him and was a friend of his and stood up for him, and they bullied this trans person into killing themselves. So this is like the woke eating themselves. This is like this is the true cannibalism of the left. It's like the French Revolution of Pierre Robes. Just nothing adheres to the standard of excellence that we're looking for here with this woke mob mentality.
Nor will it ever achieve.
Nor will it ever. I mean, nobody's ever going to be good enough.
Anyway, so I thought we'd just in case you weren't convinced that this person was mad, let's just read their bio because that's always interesting, isn't it? So verified checkmark because of course. Writer, showrunner, Dear White People, queer as folk. Fantastic. Used to write about politics at GQ. Used to be a sex worker. Imagine my shock. Bisexual, tall girl, she, her, trans flag. I mean, right. I always love how they just list like the kind of things. I imagine if someone came up to you and spoke to you like that.
Seems
like,
on point, yeah.
What do you do for a living? And they just like list all that in front of you. Like it just gets absurdist.
Yeah.
Like have you ever seen, I think it was like Labour Party conference and some stuff. They'll actually stand there and be like, yes, so my name's Tracy Michaels or whatever. She, her. No. Like that is internet stuff. Keep it away from real life. It's not not human to talk like that. But anyway,
it is when people make this like social justice their whole identity. Before it's like, what do you do for a living? I hate Trump. Do you have any hobbies? Not racist. You're like, okay, great.
The point is Douglas Murray makes the difference between being gay and being queer for him. So I don't know if you know Douglas Murray, but he's a gay conservative, and he defines being gay as being attracted to someone of the same sex.
Right.
Big shock.
Yeah.
And that's just part of their lives, and then lives his life doing all the rest of his stuff. And then there are the queers, and then Douglas just writes like 3 paragraphs of why he can't stand queer people.
Right.
It's the type of people who make being homosexual or whatever the entirety of their identity, and therefore you can't talk to them about anything else, can you? Because they spend all their time raging against the white supremacist, heteronormative patriarchy of the West or whatever the hell else. Anyway, so this is one of those people, I would have it a guess.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just you're one of those. I could just tell, like, it doesn't matter, not if, just when I'm going to say something to offend them.
Yes.
I talk about gluten the wrong way, and they're just going to blow up.
So they had that experience with Dave Chappelle daring to say a thing. So if we go forward from this, we can see more media who are very mad. So MSNBC, Dave Chappelle finds that mocking transgender people can revive a career.
Oh MSNBC, of course.
All he does is mock transgender
just
people.
Mocks them.
It's just ruthlessly.
Revive a career.
Presumably he does it like in his spare time as well. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was famous famous for a long time. I don't know how he's revived just by that.
He was a nobody, and then all of a sudden he released this special on Netflix.
Then he basically just got this sort of hate speech going, and boom.
They have a quote in here, which I find telling as well, of course. So they say, Dave Chappelle represents a segment of society, along with white supremacists, hoteps, incels, and others, that is anxious about a waning power of cis heteronormativity and patriarchy. Yeah. You know the ideology's talking when you have to listen to that kind of dribble.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing I know about Chappelle is he's quite the white supremacist.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's the black face of white supremacy, like Larry Elder, according to the Los Angeles Times.
I like how, the fact that Chappelle stood up for J.K. Rowling, that's terrible. We stand up for an author of some children's books.
Maybe we shouldn't be bullying someone just because they don't agree with us.
Yeah.
Anyway. So move on from this. We have other outlets who are also very mad. So we have GQ as that person.
Oh, GQ mad?
Yeah, GQ's also mad. So remember that person said they used to write for GQ? Well, then we have the title in here from GQ, Dave Chappelle's Betrayal. I've been betrayed by Chappelle. As if, I don't know, you own him?
I like I used to be a fan, but not anymore. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, I don't think he cares.
Which fixates on gay and trans people. Feels like a stab in the back. God. Did he, what is comedy? And he's talking about his point of view but
also like he owes this random person.
I like how he was just like, you owe me. I can't believe you betrayed me, a person who doesn't know you.
Yes.
With these jokes he wrote.
Don't you know I write for GQ?
Yeah, don't you know I wrote for this periodical and you hurt my feelings?
Yes, that's why I did it.
Unbelievable.
That should be the response. Anyway, so move on from this. There's also more of this, of course. So I love this response. We go to the next one. I'm not asking comedians to stop telling trans jokes. I'm asking them to stop telling the same trans jokes over and over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they'll stop telling it when it stops being funny.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't the same trans joke. It was different material.
Well, their argument in here is that basically every person who makes jokes about trans people is that their joke is, haha, not a real woman. And yes, that's that. I mean, literally, that's why it's funny as well, is because you people react like this. You can't accept biology.
You biologically, you're born a man. I mean, if you identify as a woman, you should be treated with respect and just treat everybody with equal respect. But if you're going to say that you can give birth or, you can have your period as a trans person, I mean, it's just biologically,
you've lost your mind. You're not living in reality.
Yeah, so for you to say that, and if you say that, that's hate speech. It's kind of like, well, the emperor's got no clothes. It's just like, come on. This is... I mean, he was basically, I feel this cancel culture and political correctness has gone so far that he's finally being sort of a pioneer in a big, meaningful way of pushing back and going like, hey, there's bullies of all different people. Mm-hmm. And this has become a real bully witch hunt kind of thing. If you don't believe what I believe, we're gonna ruin you.
I mean, that's exactly what we're looking at here. So all of these articles here, these people trying to gin up support for cancelling Dave Chappelle is exactly this emotion, which is that he said a thing they deem heresy. Therefore, let's do the old trick of just canceling him. It didn't work.
Yeah, I love this.
Cool.
It always looks like this reminds me of just like a emotionally manipulative, like ex-girlfriend type. It's like, it just broke my heart. You betrayed me. Betrayed me by what? By going to this restaurant instead of that restaurant, or just something random. You betrayed me. It's like, okay, but just the randomness of
I'm sure
you owed
live.
me something.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were on this. We go to the next one. We have some more stuff out of this. So this is someone being very mad.
That looks like Trudeau on the left.
Yeah, I think that's the person in question.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, so I'm just going to keep calling them the person because what else am I meant to do? So there's a quote in here which I found funny. So they continue to say that I worked for Netflix for so long. I have so many people I worked with at Netflix, brilliant people and executives who have been collaborative and fought for important art. But I've been thrown against walls because I'm not a real woman. I've had beer bottles thrown at me, so Netflix, I'm done. And then this person quit. Did
somebody actually throw beer bottles at that person?
Let's steel man the position and say this is all true and there's totally not any exaggeration. Sure, why not? This could happen. What's it got to do with Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, right.
This is his fault, is it? Because in your past, someone who'd never watched Dave Chappelle
threw a beer
bottle at you. We'll just assume it's because you're trans. And therefore, Dave Chappelle shouldn't be able to say that people come with people's legs.
That's completely like just like my ex-boyfriend was abusive. Therefore, don't if you don't text me back within 30 seconds, that's abuse.
Yeah,
just come on.
There is the most based of base takes, which I saw of this. So we go to the next one here. We have the New York Post reporting. Damon Waynes says Dave Chappelle freed the slaves with Netflix special.
Yeah, that's fun. That's funny.
He freed the slaves.
And by that, apparently, he means the comedians, right?
Yeah, so the quote from him, I feel like Dave freed the slaves. Yeah, the comedians, a masked Wayne 61 told TMZ while heading to catch his flight at LAX. We were slaves to PC culture, and he just, as an artist, he's Van Gogh. He cut his ear off. He's trying to tell us it's okay. So basically, you don't have to be tyrannized by the trans lobby who insists that if you dare misgender them, your career's dead. No, instead, these people are going to lose this fight because reality is what it is, and you can't fight reality, and just hold your ground. And you're not going to get cancelled. No,
Yeah.
These people are weak. They've lost their mojo.
Well, Chappelle's in a position where he's just too powerful to cancel. Like, if you cancel him, it's going to make him even more powerful, because then you're going to make him a martyr for free speech.
But I also love, there is a little bit of context being left out here, which is he then went on to talk about in his special that he had the trans stuff, but then he mentioned that, what was it, DaBaby, the rapper?
Yeah.
He said that he killed a black person and no one cared, and he was trying to make the comparison between black people and
that's
trans
right.
people, that trans feelings are worth more in society than black people's lives.
Yeah.
So then you have to combine that with, like, he freed the slaves. I mean, I love the idea that essentially he's firmly cementing black people as on the stack of intersectionals. So, there's always like the women were the big thing, and then trans people came along, and they're more sacred than women.
When it comes to just the hierarchy of the oppressed. And
so he's firmly sticking black people at the top of that hierarchy. No one's beating us on this.
Yeah, no one's. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's living through his own eyes and his own experiences, and that is of a black man. So he's going to be talking from his own experiences. And there's nothing wrong with that. The fact is, like, why can't you just agree to disagree or talk about your own personal experiences? It's like, I don't like what you said. You should lose everything. And these same people are wearing shirts that say tolerance. This is what he's pushing back against. And, I saw the special. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was not necessarily like super hilarious, most of it, but it was kind of something that need to be said. It was just like, hey, stop. You were bullied, and now you were oppressed historically, and now the oppressed become the oppressors, and how it's pushed back too far. And I think we all know incidences of people getting thrown against thrown into the fire, getting just the pitchfork coming out on the social media brigade of just coming after you if we don't like what you're saying, or you've been accused of something without any actual proof, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and he's pushing back against that, and he does a really powerful example at the end where talks about his friend who was trans, who stood up for him, and that trans person got bullied by members of the own community and killed themselves. So to say that does not have actual ramifications is it's ridiculous. So
yeah, but they don't care about the ramifications. All they care about is the ideology and the conformity.
Yeah, just the optics. And I'm on the right side of history. Why? This is what's trending right now.
And
I must follow this.
What will you do for the right side of history?
Yeah.
Literally anything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. So where's that going to lead?
I gotta put my profile. I gotta put it. It's like, oh, stay home, stay safe. Black Lives Matter.
I'll bully people to
Indigenous lives matter.
suicide. Maybe I'll beat people up if they're fascists. Maybe I'll start some riots. Why not?
Whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Whatever the cause is this week. Me too. Asian lives matter. It doesn't matter. Just like I need the optics.
But if we move on to this, the reason I mentioned he's firmly putting black people at the top of the hierarchy again, as you can see here from a chap who I did not expect to be on Dave Chappelle's side on this, but maybe I should have. So you got Bishop Tolwart Swan. I got into arguments with this guy before about slavery because he doesn't know anything about the slave trade other than the narrative, the very lazy American narrative that gets taught, which is basically that white people went to Africa, went out and stole black people, then brought them to the Americas, and that's it. That's all that slavery ever took place. It's only in America. It's also, that's the entire process. There's no kingdom of Dahomey run by black people who are enslaving other black people and then selling them to white people of various kinds, not just British, of course. But anyway, that's irrelevant to the point.
Oh, yeah.
So I expected him to not back Chappelle or at least keep quiet, but now he came out and said Dave Chappelle is the GOAT. So I believe you mentioned was his greatest of all time. So backing Chappelle up here. And if we continue with this is where we get some of the funny stuff from Netflix and why Chappelle has won, which is Netflix suspends trans employee who spoke out against Dave Chappelle special as Pink News, right? Which is dishonest because, of course, it wasn't because they spoke out. So if we go through this, the trans employee said, I work at Netflix. Yesterday, we launched another Chappelle special where he attacks the trans community and the very validity of transness, all while trying to pit us against other marginalized groups. You're going to hear a lot of talk about offense. We are not offended. Well, okay, who cares what you say then? Get lost. I mean, you would have thought that'd be the end of it. Like, it's just a big long spiel about why Chappelle is a bad man because he doesn't accept that you're definitely a man. Sorry, definitely a woman. But you're totally not offended either. I don't know how that gets 46,000 likes, but just,
we are not offended. Okay, but then they suspended this person for what reason?
So they continued in their rant against Chappelle. I won't go through the full rant, and then they reveal the real reason why they got banned. So she continues, "What we object to is harm that content like this does to the trans community, especially trans people of color, because of course we have to bring the race war, don't we? And very specifically, black trans women, promoting turf ideology, which is what we did by giving it a platform yesterday, directly harms trans people. It's not some neutral act." So this is Chappelle saying that women exist. That's the harm here. There's no direct harm that they can point to, no physical that they can point to from Chappelle.
I love, this is what bugs me about comedy. Like, it's like, no, you are promoting harm, or you're bringing harm when it's comedy or a performance. Like, who like, rapes or kills or murders somebody or assaults somebody or after they see a comedy special? It doesn't happen.
No.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was looking
because your feelings are, no, but my feelings, so therefore you can't be allowed to say these things specifically.
Like, no one listens to Ricky Gervais talking about Hitler and is like, you know what I'm going to do with my evening? Go out and carry a genocide. Doesn't happen.
No, it never happens.
Anyway, so they continue in here. This is not an argument with two sides. It's an argument with trans people who want to be alive and people who don't want us to be. Yes. Dave Chappelle wants you dead for being trans, does he? Nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, as you mentioned with the end of his special.
He had a good friend who was trans.
Yeah. In a 38 further tweets listed by trans people murdered in the US. And I love the leftist memes always have to take up like half of your fucking page to teach you one thing. But also just, it doesn't matter. None of these people were killed by Chappelle, nor by his jokes, nor by anyone who listened to his jokes. So again, just you trying to create smoke where there isn't. But then they go on and they're like, yeah.
There's been a lot of Netflix specials where I wanted to kill myself after I watched them.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But this wasn't one of them.
I'm trying to remember the last one. What was it? Samantha Bee or something I watched?
Yeah.
On Netflix. I was just like, what the fuck is this? Anyway. So they continue to whine.
When I watched Annette, I was tempted.
Yeah, they continue to whine and whine about the fact that they're totally not offended, but also totally offended. And then they end it with, after posting her Twitter thread, Field was suspended along with 2 other employees for trying to attend a director-level meeting they weren't invited to. Right, so Netflix didn't care that they had posted all this stuff on Twitter. Couldn't give them a toss. They were slagging off the company, calling it transphobic, all the rest of it, which, is weird. I work for a transphobic company, and that's why I work here.
Yeah. Why you work for that? Why don't you quit?
I mentioned earlier, but like, if you went to a company, you're like, yeah, this company hates black people, and that's why I work here. It's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Well, if that's why you work here, doesn't that tell me something about you? But,
yeah, I work for Coke. It's racist.
Anyway, so that doesn't make any sense. No, they got fired for trying to join a directors level meeting, and the directors were like, yeah, this is only for directors. You're not a director. Get the hell out. And presumably they refused, and the director was like, well, then you're fired. Get lost.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Fair enough at all. So if we go to the last one here, so this is the Times reporting on it. I won't go through all of this because there's a lot in there we've basically already covered. But it wasn't just them. Netflix employees who criticized Dave Chappelle's comedy special all get axed. So they all get axed, seeing the fact that Netflix recently suspended 3 employees, including a transgender employee who posted a Twitter thread last week criticizing Dave Chappelle. So not only that one, 2 others, and also the one who just quit because they don't want to work for a company that's concerned with money. Instead, they want them to be concerned with leftism, which, nah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Netflix is it seems to be like standing up for making money now. We were talking about that.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, this is a new chapter.
They finally turned a corner.
Yeah, they finally turned a corner.
They think that if we make things that entertain people, they might pay us money, and then we'll get rich.
Yeah, it did for a while. It seems to be like that wasn't the priority.
No, it was let's lecture people on leftism and then question mark.
We could have
money?
The Terminator with 4 women. We could have the all-female Ghostbusters that bombed. They'd like produce all this stuff that would just be like, no, this is about inclusivity. This is about just all this just checking all the optics boxes, and always like commercially big failures. But it seemed to be...
Yeah, I mean, it's where get woke, go broke comes from.
Yeah.
It's primarily, I think, not just through Gamergate or whatever, but also just Netflix specifically with all their nonsense.
Yeah.
So maybe they want that money back. Anyway, we'll end that there. So that's Dave Chappelle winning. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can catch the full podcast at 1 p.m. every weekday UK time at lotuseaters.com. You can also sign up at lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
Yeah, that's how we keep this whole operation running. And recently we've put up loads of great stuff, such as this interview with legendary comedian Steve Hughes, one of my personal favourite comedians, so it was a real honour to be able to meet him. But one thing that I didn't expect, that he would be such a deep thinker, and this podcast is genuinely like a meeting of minds in a way. He was right on my wavelength on a bunch of things and helped me actually connect a bunch of dots, but I'm not going to carry on and spoil it. We also, of course, have lots of interesting articles that have been written, such as this one by Josh about the dumbest country on earth. And for for silver tier subscribers, we also include a link, so it's we have an audio reading of it from a chap called Jonathan, who has a very smooth voice that you will enjoy. And this is great because often I don't have time to read all of the articles we put up, because we've put up a lot of regular content, and so this saves me the hassle of having to read it myself. So I really actually am very appreciative of this feature on a personal level. But we also do the Contemplations and Epochs, which are just interesting podcasts about interesting things. These are regular weekly podcasts. So this one is one of our writers, Josh, he's got a master's degree in psychology, talking about theories of intelligence and how they matter. And of course, we've got the Epochs, where myself and Bo, or in this case it was Josh and Bo, talking about the life of Sir Francis Drake. So that's 2 solid hours talking about England's most notorious adventurer. But we've also got lots and lots of other ones. This is number 21, so there's a good back catalogue there. And finally, we have our book clubs, and this is the part that I'm most proud of. Recently, we've done Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell, and
Reflections on a Ravaged Century by Robert Conquest.
Yeah, Robert Conquest is fantastic. Just if you want Western chauvinist historian, he's your man.
Anti-socialism.
Yes, in all forms, it's fantastic. And like I said, that's what keeps the podcast running. So if you want to become a member, thank you very much, and we think there's some great stuff you'll enjoy.